Water. There are three components on which living organisms depend on. They are food, air, and water. If one of them goes missing, the living organism will eventually die. Today, I am going to tell you about one of these components, water. So let's start. So, what is water called? The water is called hydrosphere. There are two other components also, about which we will talk later. So, hydrosphere. Hydrosphere means the water bodies. The water bodies means sea, river, lakes, and etc. They are called water bodies. Nearly 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. Water is found in puddles, ponds, rivers, lakes, and oceans. Under the ground, it is present in empty spaces between rocks. Large quantity of water lies frozen in glaciers and polar ice caps. It is also found in air in the form of water vapor. Water is essential for life. A person can live without food for several weeks, but without water, he cannot live for more than a few days. All plants and animals have large amount of water in their bodies. Several life processes in human and animals such as digestion of food, absorption of nutrients, etc. needs water. Not only this much, about 2/3 of human body consists of water. We take in water through food and drinks and lose it in the form of urine, sweat, and exhaled air. Water helps to control our body temperature. In hot weather, we drink a lot of water. This maintains our body temperature within reasonable limits. Water that evaporates from the surface of our body in the form of sweat takes away heat from our body and thus cools it. In plants, water is essential for germination of seeds and their growth. It also helps to transport nutrients from the soil and the food from the leaves to different parts of the plants. Did you know that even if the world is covered 3/4 with water, then too at some places there is shortage of water? As we have discussed in this chapter, water is an inexhaustible, renewable natural resource. However, we still hear about some shortage of water at many places. The United Nations has recommended that a minimum of 50 liters of water should be available to each of us per day for drinking, washing, cooking, and cleaning. However, millions of people in our country and several other countries of the world do not even get this minimum amount. They have to face great hardship in getting whatever little water they can. It is estimated that in few years from now, more than 1/3 of the people in the world would face water scarcity. We face shortage of water mainly because water is not evenly distributed by the nature on the earth. Some places such as northeast India get so much water that there are floods almost every year. Others such as the Thar desert in Rajasthan may not get rain for years. Did you know why this is happening? This is happening because 97.4% of available water in the seas and oceans, which cannot be directly used by us because of its high salt content. About 2% of water is frozen in glaciers and in polar ice caps. Through this is fresh water, it is also not available to us. The remaining, i.e., only 0.6% is available as fresh water in the liquid form. Even out of this, 0.59% is present as underground and only 0.1 is available as fresh water on surface of the earth. If we consider a bucket of water to be the total amount of water available on earth, then the amount of fresh water available on the surface of the earth is all lakes and rivers is 1/4 of a teaspoon. Did you know about the water cycle? When some changes occurs over and over again, then it is said to form a cycle of change. Water constantly moves from the earth to air and comes back to earth again. The constant circulation of water in nature is known as water cycle. The water in seas, rivers, lakes, ponds or streams evaporates because of the heat of the sun. Plants also give out large amount of water from their leaves. The water vapor rises up. The air higher up in the atmosphere is cooler. This cools the water vapor and it condenses to form tiny drops of water. These drops of water unite together to form clouds. As the clouds get cooled further, more water drops unite together and become bigger. When they become too heavy, they fall on earth as rain. In colder weather, the water may fall as hail or snow. The rainwater falls everywhere. The rain that falls on land may drain into rivers or streams or seep through the soil and gather underground as groundwater, or fall on high mountains and get frozen. During summers, it melts and flows into the rivers. This water again evaporates and the water cycle in nature goes on. Groundwater. If we dig a deep hole in the ground, we will see that the soil below is moist. This shows that presence of water under the ground. If we go on digging deeper and deeper, we will ultimately reach a level where all the spaces between the soil particles and gaps between the rocks are filled with water. This level is known as the water table. The water table varies from place to place. At some places, it may be less than a meter deep, while at other places, it may be as deep as 100 meters or more. The water found below the water table is known as groundwater. The layer of rock or soil in which groundwater collects is known as aquifer. When rainfall falls, some of the water seeps through the soil. This process is known as infiltration. It adds to or replenish the groundwater. As groundwater passes through the soil, it gets filtered by several layers of sand and rocks. It is therefore almost free and suspended impurities. However, it contains dissolved salts from the soil. It may also contain germs. The groundwater may run along the surface at some places to form a natural spring. Groundwater can be obtained by digging wells or sinking tube wells to reach the water table. Deep groundwater is usually safe for drinking.